can you hear me? Welcome, my name is Rich. I'm your host and here to bring you the first highlights video for Spirit Meet Science. We traveled to Springfield, Massachusetts for a podcast interview given by Chris Kellogg on 94.7 WMAS, which debuted on Thursday, the 27th of February. Chris talks with Gary and Virginia McKinstry with Tom D'Agostino about the new Spirit Meet Science live show.
That's fantastic. So you got a new show. Actually, you guys are doing, along with Tom and Tom's wife, Arlene, you're doing a new live show together.
Yes, we're doing a show called Spirit Meets Science. It's kind of a one-of-a-kind, a unique show.
Yeah.
And what happens basically is I'm the spiritual side, and Tom and the research crew is the science side.
Yeah. Now, Tom, tell me, what is the science behind trying to talk with the other side? What exactly do you do?
We use, actually, we go from esoterical to modern science. And with this, we use what is called a portal, which is a box that amplifies and captures what you get with the spirit box, which is the spirit box runs through frequencies, and if something is in the room, you'll hear them speak in real time. Thomas Edison has tried to invent this thing his whole life while he was, from the spiritualist movement when he was born until the day he died. And actually, through modern technology, we've been able to perfect it much more. That attaches to a portal which narrows down the frequencies to the room or within an area.
Okay.
So when something is going to speak, you hear it.
Wow. So it's like radio frequencies, or?
They are, basically they are kind of radio frequencies because everything speaks on a frequency.
So this equipment narrows it down and locks on to one frequency or one voice or whatever you're going to hear from the other side.
It runs through different frequencies, exactly.
Wow.
And if the voice is at that frequency, you hear them speak.
So how does it work, Gary? Do you have the initial contact and then you back it up with the science? How does the show work?
Well, let me explain the show first.
Yeah, go ahead.
First of all, my darling wife, Virginia, is basically the moderator and the host. She comes out, gets everybody lined up, and gives them the rules, which there are very few.
Yes.
If I'm not mistaken. And then Tom and Arlene set up their equipment so everything is ready. I go out and do gallery-style readings.
Okay.
For those of you that are not familiar, John Edwards always did gallery-style readings. In other words, whether it's 50 people, 100 people, whatever, I go out in the crowd. We have the wireless mics, and I connect to where the energy pulls me. And it can pull me anywhere.
Yeah.
And once it does, I basically deliver. We do this pretty much about an hour and a half altogether. And while I'm doing this, we have our scientific team.
Yeah.
And Tom and Arlene are picking up the other end of the things. They're picking up whatever is coming through at that frequency.
Oh, that's amazing. And let me ask you before we go any further, because I'm sure a lot of people have this question as well. How do you say the energy draws you to certain parts of the room? Do you see something or feel it, or what happens?
It's a multiple sense. What's happening is, first of all, there is a pull. I'm being pulled to, let's say, a table or wherever someone's sitting. And at that point, there's something that, I don't want to say takes over. I don't lose my senses.
Right.
But at that moment, it's almost like getting a perfect daydream. I'm watching somebody else's memory or thought pattern.
Gotcha.
You're still, let's say I was reading for you, you'd still be here. You don't disappear. But now I'm watching a whole different scene.
Yeah.
Whether it's Grandma or Uncle Harold or the kid next door, something else is coming through and it's very vivid.
Well, I mean, so Thomas, tell me, give me an example of something that has come across or somebody that has said something that was just amazing.
Well, I have some recordings, actually. And this is some of them here when Gary was speaking to somebody where he said to her, your father did love you. He did love you despite, what you think. And the voice goes, I did.
Oh, wow. So you have a recording of that?
Yeah. And everyone heard this, so it was kind of interesting.
Dad did love you, Please don't ever mistake that, because he really did. Okay.
Wow, so that was pretty clear. You hear somebody say,
Yes.
Did. Now, what else happened that night? What did you come across again?
There was another one where Gary was talking to somebody and said something about, your mom loves to entertain, and I can see her entertaining, but your father, he doesn't really care, for it. He's in another room, and somebody goes, "I am."
So let's take a listen to that.
Yeah.
Can I get mom and dad? I got mom. Dad's like, for some reason in the other room. So maybe she's the only one that wants to.
Wow, that's amazing. You picked that up, and
Yeah.
So this is live response. This isn't like canned or a word.
right.
We don't know when it's going to happen.
Right.
We have no control over this. If they decide they're going to speak, it comes out. If they decide they're not going to speak, it doesn't. In fact, when we were there, Arlene and I got there early, and we set everything up. And the portal and spirit box was absolutely quiet. Not a peep, not a scratch until he started.
Wow. So, I mean, obviously, this is all happening live.
Live.
Yeah, and I mean, tell me about some of the haunted places you go, because I know Thomas and Arlene have been to lots of haunted places, including you, Gary.
Including me.
Yes. I hear your stories.
Well, I've been to a few, yeah.
So what's the most haunted place you've been to and gotten some strong signals from?
Other than the DMV.
Oh, yeah, the DMV is out there. You could die there. Probably up in Gardner, the Gardner Mansion is.
Oh, the Victorian.
Yeah,
Yes.
It's interesting. Tom and I and Arlene in Virginia, we've all been there.
Yeah.
but at different times.
Oh,
You know,
wow.
we were called in at one point. Tom and Arlene were called in another, and we've all validated what's there. Mm-hmm. I've had people literally come across, move things, talk, and you can hear them. They're there.
Oh.
It's the S.K. Pierce Mansion, beautiful old Victorian. It was on Ghost Hunters.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And that place is genuinely haunted.
Yeah.
And it was fun.
Are spirits, in your opinion, are they tied more to places, or do the spirits move around a lot more?
It depends. From my point of view, from what we do, we look for them tied to places, being in places where what Gary does, he actually, like he said, that people bring them with them. Mm-hmm. But when we're looking for spirits or ghosts in our investigations, we're looking for what people have experienced in their home, building, whatever.
Now, Gary, has the EVP helped you resolve some issues? Like sometimes you get messages, because a lot of people on the show, when they call up, they're looking for validation that their loved one is okay on the other side. Does that help you out?
One of the things it did, one of the last show we did, I didn't have the name, but the guy came through with his name.
Wow,
I'm talking to the lady, and I'm saying, your husband, blah, 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 and it was Richard. It's like, okay, we get it, It's like, you're Richard, because sometimes when I do this, the spirit part, they don't always come through and go, hey, I'm Fred, or I'm Margaret, or whatever.
Yeah.
They're just talking. And literally, this guy wanted to be clear that his name was Richard and let us know in rather strong manner.
Yeah.
So that was kind of nice. They haven't come through to give me the lottery number yet.
No, not yet.
I'm waiting for the Powerball number.
There you go.
And you don't know which day. You maybe get the numbers, but not the exact day or time, right?
But one of the big things is this is also interactive. And if you come to the show, that's part of the cool thing, because you're part of the show.
Yeah.
It's one thing to watch TV and you go, oh, that's really interesting, that's nice. But when you're there,
This is you.
yeah.
Yeah.
If I'm walking, we do not load the audience with people. And by the way, we do not Google anybody either, because I've actually had somebody say, maybe you Googled me. I don't know who you are.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know how you could do that
It's
in an
better
instant.
that way, obviously.
Now, this is kind of a strange question. Is there anybody that came through that said, I know like with the Ouija board, somebody says, don't do it or something like that. Has anybody given you like a scary message, or has it been mostly loved ones coming through from the other side?
Okay, without disregarding spirit meets science, I just recently did a reading for someone, and there was a murder that came through.
Yeah.
And it was kind of, I hate to use the term creepy, but what it did is it validated the person's thought on how the person died.
Oh, really?
The guy came through to tell me, like, yeah, this happened to me, blah, blah, blah. They knew he had been murdered, but this was validation of it.
Wow, yeah.
So, yeah, I get a few creepy things. But no, there's nobody. I've yet to run into a demon going, don't come here.
Yeah, I'm just curious. You see that in horror movies, I just thought I would ask.
The horror movies are great.
Yeah.
But in reality, there's very little of something like that. That's like the 1 in 10,000.
Yeah.
Mostly it's your cousin, your mother, your brother. The spirit meets science power. We're out to validate, authenticate, and prove that these are your people coming through.
Yeah.
They're not my people.
Right, right.
It's not.
And they are speaking.
Yeah, and they are. Right. That's the whole deal.
Well, let me ask you, Thomas, using the EVP, has there been a time where your goosebumps were raised higher than other times, where you just were like, whoa, really freaked you out?
Actually, I've never really been afraid of any of it, but we are blown away since we did the Spirit Meets Science thing.
Yeah.
Arlene and I have been blown away by, Gary speaking with the people, and all of a sudden these things coming out where it's like, wow. They're speaking.
Well, Gary draws the energy in, and you're able to bring the science along.
Yeah, that's where the goosebumps come, because before that, we have over 100 and something EVPs we've collected, and it's really cool. But when he's getting it down to the specific of this person, and all of a sudden they speak. That's amazing.
Well, we had 37. We did a small show to a test show, one of the tests, and we had 37 people.
Right.
Which is a nice little crowd. And we had over 50 EVPs within an hour.
Whoa.
So this isn't like, we got a word.
Right.
We were getting sentences, we were getting words, we had a lady who came in and she had lost her boyfriend, and they were into wineries. Every weekend they would go to a different winery.
Right.
So she said to us, I wonder when I pass if he's going to meet me there with a glass of wine. And through the portal we heard, yup.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I get that one here.
Yeah, and she freaked out.
I can imagine.
And she's going, that's him, all right.
Yeah.
So we've had some wonderful results. See, I like to think of it as trans-dimensional.
Yeah.
When people talk about heaven, I think heaven's an actual place we create. In our minds, when you pass, you're going. What you're doing now is building the foundations for where you're going later. Everything that you see, you do, all your experiences, you're cataloging in your brain. Right. And at some point, this form passes, and when you get to the other side of that other dimension, I think we create where we need to be.
So it's not as scary. It's not a shock to us. It's kind of what we envision. And I guess getting a little bit into religion, there's a lot of different gods out there. So what you're saying is people aren't usually surprised by the God they meet.
Right. It's not a one-size-fits-all deal.
Yeah.
So I have this strange feeling when I cross, if I meet God, it's going to be probably Whoopi Goldberg in a caftan.
Is that what you're looking forward to?
Yeah, I go like, hey, come on in. This is great.
I mean, this is a fantastic show. I mean, you combining forces, I guess you could say, spiritual forces. So, Virginia, tell me about some of the upcoming shows you have.
Well, we have 3 coming up right now. One in Salem, Mass.
Okay.
That's March 14th. It's a Saturday.
Yep.
And then we have one coming to the Public House in Sturbridge, and that's in April. And we also have one coming to Chez Joseph.
Yes.
Out here in Agawam. We're all excited. And you can check those out on either of our website, Dining with the Dead 1031, or GaryMcKinstry.com. And we have icons on there, the green icons that read Spirits Meet Science.
Oh, that's
so,
awesome.
Check the icons out and you'll see all the dates and the times and
I'm sure people will do that after listening to this podcast.
Awesome.
So, Virginia, let me ask you, I've never asked you this question. Times where you've been wowed.
Times when I've been...
I hate to put you on the spot, but I'm going to put you on the spot right now.
That's wonderful. Yes, you can. Times I've been wound is when I get home and say, oh my God, that show was awesome.
Yeah.
And the one we did several, and the last one we did with Tom and Arlene was like out of the park. You cannot imagine the feeling of the client in front of us as Gary's speaking, and then off to the side comes this voice that tells you the husband's name, and they're going, yeah, that's my husband, yeah, that's my husband. So yeah, it's a really interesting and a great thing because we're giving people peace peace, because some of us just don't get that when our loved ones pass away. And it's good to know that they're still around, they're still going to be with us. And that's the wow I got from Spirits Meet Science.
Well, it's so great to see you team up. I know GVM Productions.
Yes, GVM.
And, of course, Thomas and Arlene, who have written so many books, been on so many TV shows with the EVP and the new technology. So what a great time to join forces. It's so good that you guys joined up together.
Thank you. The show itself is based on an introduction, okay? And then we have a dinner. Gary does the connections part. We have a dessert. And then Tom does his reveal. So it's a really entertaining evening, afternoon.
That's awesome. Well, thank you very much, Virginia. I know you're a big part of this whole production.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Well, that's amazing. And again, if people want to get a hold of both of you, you've got a couple websites you can check out.
Yes, you can go to GaryMcKinstry.com. You can go to TomDiagostino.com. You could go to diningwiththedead 1031.com
or Spirits Meet Science.com.
Wow. Oh, you can also go to Facebook.
Oh, I don't remember that one.
Yeah, Spirit Meets Science on Facebook.
Yep.
And I think we're gonna be on Twitter, and very shortly you'll be able to find us on YouTube.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much for both coming in. Spirit Meets Science. Make sure you check out the show. You guys have been awesome together here on the podcast.
Thank you, and it's always a pleasure.
Much. Yes, quite a pleasure.
Thank you very much, Tom D'Agostino, and of course Gary McKinstry, and thanks to your wife too, Arlene, who makes the show possible, and Virginia as well.
Yes.
And by the way, and our technical expert, Rich Allaire,
who's videotaping this as we speak.
Correct.
Yeah, we may see this on YouTube soon, right?
Hopefully we'll soon to be famous. Maybe we'll be on the Travel Channel together.
You guys are everywhere. Thank you so much for coming in. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe, and come back for more future shows. If you would like to know more about the teams, please check out the links in the description below. And always remember, keep looking beyond.